Indiana's House of Representatives unanimously passed a bill requiring life rings at Lake Michigan entry points. The vote happened last night. An Indiana Senate committee unanimously passed the bill last month. It aims to prevent drownings by requiring rescue equipment to be on the pier or public access sites on the lake.
There are some new safety rules for equipment on Indiana beaches, and it could be saving lives there. Families of drowning victims and lawmakers pushing for change gathered today to get the word out for anybody going into the lake this summer.
This Memorial Day, families of drowning victims gathered in Indiana today to honor their loved ones.
And they celebrated the passage of a new bill that will require new water safety equipment at beaches this year.
We're talking about Lake Michigan Public Rescue Equipment Act, also known as the Indiana Life Ring Bill. It's 2 years in the making.
In July of 2022, we created the Lake Michigan Waterfront Safety Initiative for Indiana. It was uniting families and friends of Lake Michigan drowning victims and the communities passionate about water safety to demand protection for all beachgoers. Since 2012, I am a water safety advocate who meets with families of drowning victims to provide emotional support and assist with the long days as they wait for body recovery.
Evelyn Hernandez has been a water safety advocate ever since she became a drowning survivor.
I was here at this very beach, June 12, 2012, on a 90-degree day, at noon, with my boyfriend, 32-year-old Leonel Dominguez, known as Leo, who passed away by 2 p.m. that very day. As painful as it may be for me to speak about this tragedy, we stand strong, knowing that this bill will save lives.
This effort started 2 years ago. In this town right here, a resident had approached me and she had introduced herself. She said, "My name's Carmen and I'd really want to talk to you about something that's very, very important to me." She asked me if I was from the area and if I knew about water safety and if I was familiar with, the lives that had been lost, that the fact that there was a need for something to happen here. She didn't just say, "Hey, there's a problem." She reached down, she actually had a bill in her pocket and said, "This is what we've been doing. This is what my family has been doing. And you, now that you're a newly elected official, you need to get to work on this."
Leaders from the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project testifying in the State House in Indianapolis. They're pushing for life ring stations to be added to piers and public access points on Lake Michigan.
Lake Michigan, while it is beautiful, it's not like any other lake that's out there.
The Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project states there have been more than 1,200 drownings on the Great Lakes in 13 years.
Ron Wood Jr.
One by one, Indiana State Senator Rodney Pohl read the names of people who drowned in Lake Michigan.
Brandon Chambers.
Their families were in Beverly Shores to mark the passage of an important bill that will hopefully prevent these types of tragedies from happening again. The new law requires that the owner of a pier or public access site on Lake Michigan install public rescue equipment, which includes at least one life ring. It is an important safety device since the CDC just reported that 40 million U.S. adults cannot swim.
This law goes into effect, you're going to see a lot more weatherproof cases on the beach. Inside these orange or red weatherproof cases, there will be a life ring.
Evelyn hopes that this effort and those life rings will keep more families from joining the club that unfortunately she's a part of forever.
We want Indiana to be a destination, but we have also the best interests of our community to preserve life. And I believe this bill does that.
Our hearts in the legislature felt the losses in hearing these stories. Please know that your loved ones have not perished in vain. These stories moved the legislature to finally take action, and these stories will undoubtedly save lives. You've advocated for change that will prevent other families from ever feeling the grief that you have gone through. We're here today to celebrate your advocacy and remember those that we have lost. May their memories be honored and all of your efforts commended. Thank you all so much for being here today.
New tonight, 2 struggling swimmers rescued from Lake Michigan waves at Porter Beach.
Right, and Indiana's newly established life ring law is being credited with helping to save the lives of a mother and her child yesterday.
ABC 57's Dante Stanton reports from Bethany Beach in Sawyer, where water safety advocates now want Michigan to consider a similar statewide law.
Thanks, Brian. Jennifer, leaders with the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project say that right now the life ring placement along the Lake Michigan coastline in the state of Michigan is disorganized at best, and they hope that a similar bill to the one saving lives right now in the Hoosier State will soon be enacted in Michigan.
Having life rings available on your beach is so important because you know what? Lifeguards go up for lunch, lifeguards go home for dinner, and you just never know when you're going to have a water issue.
Life rings, a common sight on beaches throughout northwest Indiana. A bill passed by the Indiana House of Representatives in February mandated that these life rings be available on every beach in the state with an access point to Lake Michigan. Sunday evening, those rings were put to good use at Porter Beach.
There was a rescue in progress, and that ultimately life rings were used to rescue a woman and child from the water, and that the dive team was called off. So what could have been a potentially deadly instance, now has become a life-saving one with those life rings.
Passing of the safety bill, unfortunately, brought about by tragedy.
It was family members of drowning victims that were driving that effort that really made it happen. Life rings have always been a good idea for quite some time, but it was really unfortunately the family members of drowning victims that pushed that forward to get that done.
These life-saving flotation devices are far less common in Michigan because they aren't required to be at every beach, leaving some spots without a single layer of drowning prevention methods.
Michigan doesn't have a lot of lifeguards, but they do have some beaches with life rings, and it's kind of haphazard, disorganized. Some beaches may have them on the beach, but not the pier. Some beaches may have them at the pier, but not on the beach. And what we will be looking for is uniformity with a Lake Michigan Rescue Equipment Act coming in Michigan sometime in the near future.
The Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project leading a training session Monday at Bethany Beach, a private beach that prides itself on having both lifeguards and flotation rings on hand.
So we have poles down here that we hang our life rings on. So I always teach my patrons around here, if we're not on the beach to help you, there's something to grab.
For Elaine, the head lifeguard at Bethany Beach, getting these life rings on every beach possible is a personal mission.
Personally, I've lost a child, and to lose a loved one to drowning or to some sort of unfortunate death can be prevented. And having life rings and AEDs available, man, they can change the world.
Ethan Seitzer. Brandon Chambers. Corey Ernster. Joshua Torres. Ron Wood Jr. Thomas Keeney. Jacob Sandy. Brandon Schmidt. Chase Froze. Matthew Coker. Lionel Dominguez. Corey McFry. Emily McDonald. Donald Raleigh. May their memories be honored and all of your efforts commended.